It's funny because the genesis of both of our businesses started in about the same time, 2004.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why did it all start for you? How did it all start?
Yeah, I thought you were going to go to a different place with this one because we were before we started taping. You were saying, "Hey, when you were 14, you broke your nose, right?"
Yeah.
So when I was 7, I broke my nose. So I think the genesis. I've got the scar. You can see it right there. This nice nose I've got. I got a scar on my nose. That's the genesis. That's why am I sitting here today? You know, the blizzard of '78, Dayton, Ohio. We don't need to get into all the details, but me breaking my nose. Personally understanding what it's like to be suffering from breathing conditions, so that when I went to med school, I was like, there's, when you're studying things, there's nothing that becomes more interesting than if you personally have been dealing with this stuff. So when I was in med school, this stuff fascinated me. It fascinated me so much that I went to become an ENT surgeon, so forth and so on. So, and then I came out of training back in 2003. Before that, in training, I trained at the University of Oklahoma. I met Gwen, my wife, who was an audiologist. She was doing her fellowship down there. So we met in the department. We got married. She's from the Fox Valley. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. We love the Midwest. And so lo and behold, we end up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 2003, which is when I came out of training. We joined another ENT doc for about a year, but then getting back to the point you were touching on, 2004 is when Gwen and I, November 1st of 2004, that's when Gwen and I started Advent. And it was called Advent literally from day one. So it wasn't called, what it should have been called would have been Dr. Kandula's office or some, whatever, Madan Kandula MD or something like that. But it was Advent because I didn't know where we were going, but I knew what we were going to do was going to be important, and I wanted to make sure it would be capable of being bigger than just the two of us. And so when we started back in 2004, it was literally just she's an audiologist, so she does hearing testing and hearing aids. I'm an ENT. I can do nose and throat and ear procedures, and let's put a shingle up and let's go. So we literally started in the basement. We subleased an office from a wound care doc. We were only allowed to be there 2 days a week, 2 half days a week. We had to literally carry our charts out of that office. So I'm just painting a picture for you.
Yeah.
So it wasn't both simultaneously. It wasn't with any great plans, but it was with a great mindset that what I am here today to do is to serve my patients. What I was here what Gwen and I were there to do back in 2004 was to serve our patients. And what I felt then is what I feel now is if I simply can be the best of what I can be to serve the patients and the best of my patients, the best to my abilities, everything else is going to take care of itself. And so I think kind of where things evolved for me, and we've talked a little bit about this in previous episodes, is I think for me, I saw clearly person after person who was suffering with conditions that should have been able to be addressed earlier than what it was. And over the earlier part of my career, simple things like in-office CT scanners came to be. Balloon sinuplasty was created, in-office turbinate reduction. These very simple options, oral appliance therapy. So these sort of simple, user-friendly solutions were invented, and my practice was able to offer those things. And part of being able to offer those things is we have always been, and we will always be an independent medical practice. So, meaning, what does that mean? Is we serve our patients. I don't work for a hospital. That's not us. We are here to serve our patients, and that's how it's been from day one. And so, really the evolution of Advent is the evolution of my thinking based off of the patients that I was serving, and hearing and feeling their frustration and their pain, and hearing and feeling how frustrated they were to go to the pharmacy aisle or the primary care doc or, other people and just not get the relief that they were looking for. And then for me to simply, hey, let's just take time out. Let me just understand what's going on. Let me look and see. And then back then is with my two hands, with the tools that exist in this day and age, let's see if we can, get you better. And we could. And so anyway, so that really has been the evolution of things. We've grown. I mean, I think we started working together 12 years ago or so. And that, really 12 years ago, maybe more like 10 years ago, maybe more like, whatever, let's call it 10 years. 10 years ago is where we really started growing purposefully. And the reason for that was the recognition that I had was that it wasn't that I'm not that special. My mindset is special, just to be clear, and meaning that it is special in this day and age to come onto the playing field with the single unifying mindset to serve somebody else and to do it in the best of my ability and our ability. So that mindset is special. But what I found is that the techniques I could teach others to do, even that mindset, because I think for my providers, there is a pride in service that is true to why we all got in these professions to begin with. So at Advent currently, we started with this one guy, and then eventually I had, a PA and then a couple PAs, and they taught me a lot of things too. But regardless, so, currently we've got a medical staff that's in the 60s. So we've got 15 ENT surgeons and, we'll just call it, 50 PAs and nurse practitioners. So that's quite a bit more than just little old me. But the common theme is there's a mindset and attitude that has not changed from day one. So November 1st of 2004 until today, that mindset has not changed. The mindset of service has not changed. The mindset of trying to deliver results and solutions has not changed. Our reach has massively changed. Our impact has massively changed because of that reach. And the tools that we're able to offer are... I'm amazed. I mean, honestly, I am amazed to this day because, let me just go in a bit of a weird direction. When I came out of training, I was trained to do things a certain way. There almost isn't anything that I do currently that is done the way that I was trained to do it. And why is that not the case? Is because new tools came available after I got trained. And so I have always been, will always be of the mindset if something new comes out, it doesn't make it great. It just makes it let's see if that, hey, does it make it better? Does it make my job easier? Can I do a better job by employing that? And some of these things we've been able to incorporate. The good stuff we've been able to incorporate, and the not so good stuff, we look at it, we try it out, and we say, nah, it just needs to go away. And so the toolbox that I have and we have as an organization is the best that it's ever been in the history of the world for airway breathing conditions. There's never been a better day than today as far as if you're going to have to suffer from nose problems and sinus problems and throat problems. It's never been easier than it is today to not have to suffer, to be able to deliver results and solutions. So to me, I guess bottom line, it was just taking the simple things that came to exist and figuring out a way to be able to connect the dots between these tools and techniques and technology and the people out there who might benefit. And that's really been the magic of our growth.
And you're growing because the solutions truly are solutions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're helping people. People tell others about these things. Their lives are being changed. We keep on kind of touching on that. But that's the most important thing of everything here. Do you want to live better?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, and I go the other way. It's a bit weird sometimes, but it's sort of I get it. I think for me, I mean, as probably anybody who hears me or spends any time with me knows, is I obsess about everything that's important. I'm going to obsess about it. If it's not important, I don't really care. So I think where I'm going though is when people see Advent, maybe they'll see a billboard, maybe they'll see something online, maybe they'll hear a radio message, maybe they'll see a TV ad. I would imagine that people might see that and be like, if they don't know anything about anything, they might be like, oh, that's kind of slick, and what's up with that? And
can I believe it?
Well, I think it's almost sometimes I think it's so. Humbly speaking, I'd say I feel like sometimes it's so well put together that people, because in this day and age, when something is so well packaged, we've almost been conditioned to say it's too good to be true. Something's not right. And I think getting back to kind of our genesis and our origin is there's really, from a medical practice standpoint, there's no more humble beginning than we had. And the reason for how dialed in things are. When I say that, I mean our name, I mean our colors, I mean our logo, I mean our look, I mean the feel, the jingle, all of those things are specific, purposefully specific elements that have been, basically between you and me, we've had a lot of DNA on all of those things. It's like, I want to make sure this is as clean, crisp, clear, compelling as possible, because I have the goods, meaning I have the solutions that exist. So I need to make sure that when people see anything from us or hear anything from us, that it instills either a sense of education, like, oh, I know something a little bit more than I did before, or confidence, like, oh, they got their stuff, dialed in, kind of a concept. So I think for most people that comes as a sense of reassurance. For some people, they probably are like, oh, I'm not sure about that. So, but at the end of the day, for us, the most important thing is delivering results. And I'd say, just sort of realistically speaking, we wouldn't even exist if we didn't deliver results. We wouldn't be growing if we couldn't deliver results. You could advertise all you want. You could put billboards up, from here to California. You could, have every radio buy and TV buy that exists. And if you have a product that doesn't work, if you have a service offering that doesn't work, you will not exist. And so, sort of, I think, a testimonial, sort of our growth and the impact that we're able to have is, but I'm proud of that. I mean, super proud of it. But, meaning that I'm proud of what is in front of us. I'm proud of those individuals we've been able to help, kind of that, I wouldn't say that are behind us, but are more like, yay. I mean, that's what I want.
They're with you.
They're with me. And I think, and that's the other thing. I think there's the part of my attitude, therefore part of our attitude, is almost, it's certainly counter to how the rest of healthcare is designed in this day and age, is if I can provide a solution for you so you don't have to be coming back to see me, that's what I want to do. So in many ways, I want to put myself out of business. Most other healthcare organizations are in the Band-Aid business. I'm not in the Band-Aid business. I don't like Band-Aids.
Help them don't come back.
Exactly.
Hopefully they don't have to.
Hopefully, if I can, and again, I'm not perfect, and we're not perfect, and the solutions we have are not perfect. But I would say they work consistently, and we will give, like I said before, we will give those individuals that see us their best chance for success. We have a process that works, and the goal of that process is to resolve the issues, is to get a result that is it's basically one and done. Is how I like to think about our treatment. Is there's a process, like we're going to see you as a new patient, we've got to get the right evaluation, we've got to get a game plan that's lined up. We're going to deploy that game plan, and my hope is it's one and done. Where you come in to see us, we take you along our patient journey, we figure out what we need to do, we do it, we get the problem, in the rear view mirror, and you go and live your life.
Live better.
And maybe if you'd be willing, if you tell somebody else who has some of these conditions so they don't have to suffer themselves, I'd rather provide results to our patients so that they can go talk about their results to other people than provide Band-Aids for people so those people can just come back and see us again for another Band-Aid. Like, that is not my thing.
Yeah, and that's it's evident.
Yeah.
I think that the one and done mentality is what sets Advent apart, because it's the passion saying, okay, we have now solved the problem. We have increased your quality of life. You can go about and naturally you're going to tell others about it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, and I guess, and part of the reason I can do that, part of the reason I can have the attitude I have, is because there are millions, tens of millions of people in this country, 100 million, that have these issues. So these issues are really, really common. So I don't need. I mean, I got, how do you say? If I wanted to create a Band-Aid factory, I could do that too. We don't need to do that. I think that's where it sort of saddens me sometimes when I look at other areas of healthcare. I don't like to sort of look and stare at sad things. things. So I just focus on what I need to focus on, which is my purpose, which is our patients that we serve. But, regardless, I'd say, I don't have to worry about, not having enough people out in the world for us to help, because there's plenty. I mean, and just to be clear, yes, Gwen and I founded Advent. I'm leading Advent. I want Advent to be the best organization, period, end of sentence. And I'm not even putting that in a category. So I didn't say best healthcare organization. I'm looking to create, and I think I have created something that has the potential to be best in class, best in world. That's Advent. We have the right mindset. We have the right people. We have the right tools and technology to do that. And most importantly, we have the right purpose, which is serving our patients.
It's coming from the right place.
Absolutely. And I think all of that coming together is something that it's almost like there's a saying that's basically we didn't get this far just to get this far. I didn't get this far just to get this far, meaning that it's going from nothing and moving things in a forward direction has kind of it's not been an easy pathway, but it's been a once in a lifetime experience, and it has allowed me to get this organization to a place to have the potential to serve people in the way that they ought to be served, to help people in the way that they ought to be helped, and do it in the way that ought to be done. That is an opportunity for me. So it's a weird concept, even though I founded this thing, and had no idea about where we're going to get to. I didn't get to this place just to stop here. I got to this place, and it's a place that's very fortunate, and I'm fortunate to have been able to serve and help the people we've served. I'm fortunate to have been able to do that side by side with my fellow teammates. And as that team is growing, our impact grows, our reach grows. We're able to help more people, and I think all of that coming together is, like I said, it's amazing when I take a step back sometimes, and I ponder. Again, this is our 20th year, so just for those that don't do math well, November 1st of 2024, that's our 20th anniversary. We will celebrate that, and part of that celebration is reflecting upon 20 years of not just 20 years of the slings and arrows that come along with being in the independent practice of medicine in the United States from 2004 until 2024. There are a lot of, there's been a lot of change that's happened over that time. The independent practice of medicine in this country over those 20 years has gone from the norm to almost extinction at this point. And, the Advent story is a story of an old school concept. Can we, as an independent organization, serve patients in the way they ought to be served? That's basically the way my dad used to serve his patients when he was a general surgeon in Dayton, Ohio. My mom, it was the same mindset. That was the mindset that used to exist. And then over the 20 years, those 20 years that you guys have been in existence and Advent's been in existence, is that mindset has shifted. The availability and access for individuals to independent medical practitioners is almost non-existent. It went from the norm to now it's going away. And who's suffered from that? Who's suffered? Everybody has suffered. People have suffered, but I'd say clinicians have suffered too. I feel a sense of duty and mission for my colleagues who are less fortunate than I am, who haven't been able to remain independent, who are not able to serve the patients or their patients in the way they would like to serve them, because they're sort of stuck serving their organization. They're serving the institution. They're not able to serve the patients.
Have you been approached by other physicians that say, "Hey, I'm in this system, but I like what you're doing"?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And more so, honestly. I mean, I think there's yes, I don't know how you say it. I mean, I do feel, I have a sense there, to me, I have a sense of remorse that the norm in healthcare is really basically, honestly, they talk about physician burnout. They talk about clinician burnout, and they talk about that's a an accident, like, oh, we're sad that's happened. That's not by accident. It's by design. And I mean this, and just with clarity, the system is designed to protect and preserve the system. And the fuel that it will use, it'll take patients, it'll take clinicians, and you feed that into the machine, and the machine is going to use that as fuel, and who's going to survive? The machine is going to survive, and who's going to not be around? I think there are unfortunately lots of clinicians that are out in the world who got into healthcare for the right reasons and are stuck in systems that are, sort of going to, I don't know how you say it, they're going to take those poor souls and they're going to use them for whatever they're worth, and then that's the end of them. So, that's just how it is. And why do I feel a sadness there? Like, I come from a family of medicine. My parents are, they were doctors. I've got two sisters who are physicians. So this is a family business, and the family business, the business or the profession as it used to be has changed dramatically. And I almost feel, it's a weird, reality in my mind, but I almost feel like I'm like I've got the, sort of the last fumes of what things used to be like. I've got them, and I got sort of the fumes from back in the day, kind of old school, both mindset, mentality about how we think about, treating patients. And I have all the benefit of the new tools and technology that exist in this day and age.
Perfect combination.
And you bring them together, including some of the tools we're using right now. My parents they didn't have the ability to communicate in this manner to people about, these sorts of conditions. So the things that didn't exist back in the, 80s and 90s, they do exist now. It's easy nowadays for us to put together, clarity and messaging and get the word out. It's much easier, and so it's really just taking some of these new school options and opportunities, putting them together with an old school mindset, putting them together in a profession that's still noble, which is the practice of medicine, and doing it in a way that it ought to be done. I am fortunate to have gotten to this place. Blood, sweat, and tears have many of all of those things have been shed by Gwen and I and our teammates to get us here, and we are just getting started. So I'd say 20 years of wonderful thing. It's not like I'm diminishing its importance. I'm just simply saying, I didn't just get here just to get here. We didn't just get here to get here. We got to this place, and there's an opportunity in front of us that for me will be a once in a lifetime opportunity to continue this mission. For us will be a once in a career opportunity to serve patients in the way that they should be served. And for all those people that we're able to serve, it is our honor and our blessing to be able to serve them. And so basically the bigger we get, the greater reach that we have, the more people that we're able to help, and the better we're able to sort of feel and do in the act of doing and helping. So all that coming together is just I don't know. It's both. There's an opportunity, and it's not a burden, but I'd say there is. I do feel like I am, sort of carrying the baton for sort of the independent practice of medicine in a way that when I look around and I see other specialties and I see what's happening, I don't see a whole lot of things happening like what's happening at Advent. And it's not my duty to look around and sort of do for others. It's my duty to do the best that I can do with what I've got and make the best out of it. And that's what I'm doing, and that's what I plan on doing. And we'll see where it goes.
So there's a sincerity, there's a passion. There's a little chip on your shoulder too,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, there is. There is. Without question, and which is probably, I feel like I like that chip on my shoulder. I do.
I think it makes you more focused.
It's
drives you more.
It drives me. I was talking to somebody else about this the other day. I'm not Kobe Bryant and I'm not Michael Jordan, but those guys had chips on their shoulders too. And what is that? It's it's a weird concept. Like, what's this like nerdy ENT doc? Who am I? Why would I deserve to even put myself in a sentence with Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan? I'd say, like I said, I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm here to win championships as an organization. Those championships are won by serving our patients one at a time.
One at a time.
And as we do that, we grow as an organization. And I have the duty and honor to make the individuals who are part of my organization better each day. And so I got this analogy in my head with Kobe and Michael is, those were not those were prickly individuals who even in practice threw elbows when necessary. But what did that result in? It resulted in organizations who were capable of winning, who were able to step above those who weren't and do things that needed to be done. And so, I think that's where, there's a chip on my shoulder, but I carry that chip. I carry that chip on behalf of the patients that we serve. I carry that chip on the behalf of my teammates that I serve with. My goal, my duty is to make all of those people better. And how can I do that? I need to make myself best in order to make those individuals better. And I try to do that every day, and it's a work in progress. But it's definitely, I understand it's a weird mindset I have, but it's genuine, it's authentic.
Isn't it the mindset of a successful person?
Success is. I feel like success is defined by each individual, and for some people, this mindset and this chip would be their definition of hell and not success, if that makes any sense. Because it's not an easy mindset to walk around the earth with. Mm-hmm. But it keeps it interesting, and it keeps it real, and it certainly has served me very well. For me, it's success. For me to be able to have the opportunity to be here, to be, I don't know how you say this, to be on this playing field. I shouldn't be here. As an organization, we shouldn't be here. Like I'm just going. And if you said, hey, there's this medical practice. Started in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a solo doc. He started with his wife. They got like half an employee. This is 2004. Like, how much you betting on them? Yeah, hey, how much you betting on them in 2004 to be, sitting wherever we're sitting here in 2024? You're gonna bet a lot on them. And I'd say most people wouldn't have bet much on me or us. I did, and we did. And so, that's one of those like sort of, how do you say this? There's nothing surprising to me. While everything's sort of like, oh, this is really cool. It's really interesting. I'd say that kind of mindset existed back then, and the chip that I carry it proudly from back then. And I intend to carry it in a forward direction. And I don't know, it's a good thing.
But even in 2003, did you see you being here in 2024, 20 years later?
Here's my honest answer is I didn't know what the future was going to hold. But I did know the person having this conversation, that was just me, my internal thought, was I did know that the person who was having the conversation was that assuredly, nobody recognized the mindset and potential that I had. I did. And honestly, if you ask anybody back in, I think anybody who knew Gwen and me back then and knows us now, we're very much the same people. And I think in hindsight, I don't think anybody's surprised about, this. I think you wouldn't have bet on it though, because it'd be like, who's going to bet on a teeny little independent medical practice to even survive through the sort of the last 20 years in this country? Like I wouldn't hardly any, but we did. And then who's going to bet on them to sort of, to me the greatest blessing of all of this has been me and us being able to create an organization that allows other people my teammates to rise and thrive in service to our patients. So, again, what hasn't changed, I still serve patients, we still serve patients very much in the way that we did it before. But instead of me and a couple people, now it's us, and we've got, 275 employees right now, we're growing. And so that the culture that I've been able to be a part of and was there at the genesis, and I'm still kind of cultivating and trying to make better as we move forward, is that's I don't know. It's both. It's not an accident, but it's a fortunate sort of a combination of sort of like the environment that we came through and the mindset that we came into that with is what's allowed us to kind of create what we've created, which has put us on the precipice that we're looking out over. That is, the move in a forward direction is simply now to, I don't know how you say it. Like if the goal was to help as many people as we can help, which was the goal, now we have an opportunity to truly do that. And I'm going to make sure by my every ounce of will to make sure that happens is sort of the bottom line. So, yeah.